Hello and welcome to the Craft of Living. Fellow truth seekers, fellow souls, fellow beautiful humans out there living this human journey. I wanted to stop and reflect with you about some revelations and ponderings and reflections that I've come across recently, and just another pieces of the puzzle coming together, really. You know, I practice tarot and I read a lot of spiritual esoteric type of books, and I watch astrology. I don't know a lot of astrology, but I do watch astrology in people on YouTube that can know more about astrology and planetary alignment and the effects it has on human beings and our energy than I do. And we're coming into a lot of intense energetic planetary alignments coming up. I mean, as we've been going through quite a lineup this whole year, as you can see, that's reflected in our reality out there and what's happening. And I just never get tired of, and I'm always shocked about the synchronicities that life can present to you. And every time that I think that I'm alone or I'm the only one, Spirit and life and universe and God show me that you couldn't be farther from the truth. Like, for instance, I'm reading, I do general tarot pulls on myself, and I'm reading in the books about a certain thing, and then I go and I read my esoteric book that I'm reading, which is the book Bringers of the Dawn from Barbara Marciniak. And she talks about the same exact thing I literally just read in my tarot. And mind you, I don't just have one tarot. I have 3 different tarots. I have the Osho deck, I have the Golden Art Nouveau, I have the Spirit Science deck, I have many oracle decks, Earth Warriors. You've seen them on my channel. And I have many different decks, many different artists, many different points of views. Yet when I do a reading on myself, it all comes down to the same message, at least for this phase of my life. And then I go and I read my book, which I'm like halfway done with. And literally the sentence is exactly the same as what the cards are telling me. And then I go and I watch Pam Gregory, which is an astrologer on YouTube. I recommend her channel, go check it out. And she says in so many words the exact same thing. And then I go and click on like an Eckhart Tolle video, and he is saying this exact same thing, which was at this point in time, it was like, when will the awakening happen, or when will the consciousness shift happen? And he was basically saying, when you are led to information, when you are drawn by spirit to do something or take an act, that is part of the awakening process. When you are led to information and you gain knowledge, or you read a book that you're drawn to and you gain knowledge, that is the awakening process. And for me, it was like an eye-opener, because I thought that the awakening process would be much more grand and just marked, like, this is what's happening right now. But in reality, as he said, it's a process. It's an awakening process. So if you are reading information, or you are coming into alignment with certain people or actions or places and events that just spark you and ignite that light within you, then you are in the awakening process. And I would say being led to this video, this is proof and confirmation that you are in the awakening process, because the stuff I'm talking about is about spiritual alignment. It's about raising your consciousness level. It's about raising your frequency and being in that high state of frequency of love and trust and joy, because that's our true nature, is joy and love. And when we go into fear and doubt and negativity, our energy level and our frequency starts to drop, because unconditional love vibrates really high up here. And you start to have fear and doubt and just negativity and self-criticism. Your energy level and your frequency starts to drop significantly. And reading that part in the book about the Pleiades, and they're saying things like, this is what we want you to know most of all. We cannot express this enough. You are powerful manifestors, and your thoughts create your experience. It is never the other way around, where you have an experience and then you have a thought. It's always thoughts first, and then you have the experience. And I know that there are many people out there that would love to argue this point to me all day long and tell me, I would never have asked for this. I would never have put myself in this situation. I would never have wanted A, B, and C to have happened to me or to be gone through or anything like that. But that's coming from a human perspective. On a soul's perspective, there are deeper meanings and deeper lessons in everything we encounter in our lives. And that can be uncomfortable or comfortable, and that can be met with resistance or allowance and flowing. And even on the surface, if it seems as though something is not going your way, it's universe teaching you a lesson or a deeper meaning of something that needs healing within yourself, something that has not come into full circle or completion within yourself. It is something that needs, whether it's taking back your power and saying, I'm not going to put myself in that position anymore because I don't deserve it, or if it's about changing your belief systems, like if you think, oh, I have to endure this because they're my family, and then you're like, maybe I don't. Or I have to be A, B, and C and behave this way because of my religion. But maybe you don't. And maybe spirit and universe is teaching you something else. And as I am going through this process of flowering and awakening and encountering all of these things and observing all of these synchronicities, which is really just your way of your higher self and God and intuition and spirit talking to you and leaving you breadcrumbs, especially when it's the same message over and over and over again. It's your intuition, it's your higher self talking to you and telling you these messages. So I am paying attention and I am sharing it with you, which is your thoughts create your reality. And I often feel like I go through these things alone, even though I know cognitively, I know in my brain that I am never alone. I'm not alone. There's millions of other people who are going through the same exact thing that I'm going through and feeling the same exact things that I'm feeling, and very similar. It doesn't have to be the exact same scenario, but it's a symbiosis of parallel events, if you will. And I acknowledge that, but I still feel very alone. I mean, you could be in a crowded room with friends and feel completely alone. I mean, I, for one, know that that is a common theme in my life that I do feel. And it doesn't matter if I'm surrounded by family, friends, and loved ones, I can still manage to feel completely alone. So as I was going through this process and phase that I'm going through of introspection and meditation and growing and raising of consciousness levels and awareness, I was really feeling like I'm not getting anywhere. Just feeling like I was treading water, really, and not really getting anywhere. And I came across a video online on the YouTube, and they pointed out that it can feel like you're going nowhere when you're going in a Fibonacci spiral, because it feels like you're making the same circle again and again. But I want all of you to know, whoever is working on yourself and whoever might be identifying with what I'm saying now about feeling like you're just treading water and you're not really getting anywhere, if you are following your passion and what lights you up and that spark of divination within you, even if it's not producing the results that you thought it would, that you're pretty happy with doing it anyway, even if it doesn't make sense, but you're following this path anyway and you're not sure where it's going, but you're just, hey, you're following it for once in your life. You're following this wild goose chase, if you will, instead of being practical and logical. If you are in that same boat as I am and you are allowing universe to line up things and events in your life for you to follow, and you are on this path and you're feeling like, I'm not getting anywhere, I feel like I'm in the same exact spot. If you take the analogy of the Fibonacci spiral, like I mentioned earlier, it feels like you're going on the same exact circle, but actually every circle and every cycle in life and every revolution, you're picking up a little bit more, and you're picking up a little bit more, and you're picking up a little bit more, and until you realize that you're expanding and you're growing into something greater. You're adding on every time you make this revolution. And if we are consistently judging ourselves based upon how we performed in the past and what we did in the past and what kind of results we achieved in the past, and we are bringing that into the present, and we are holding ourselves to that sort of capper, then we will never break free, and we will never break through that barrier, because we are hindering ourselves by keeping ourselves lower. It's one of the things I've observed in my tarot readings is measuring yourself based upon past performance. Like, oh, I guess I'll never be able to do this that I want to in the future because I've never been able to do it before. But we are in different times and different energies, and we are reaching different consciousness levels and different levels of awareness, and we are not the same people. If you take into account who you used to be and where you are now, you're going to see there's a big journey that you have undergone in between there, and that there is a lot of accomplishments I bet you can list off that you have attained and you have done since being from there. So I can assure you, if you're feeling like you were just going in circles and you're treading water and you're not getting anywhere, trust that you are. If you are following that guidance and that intuition, and you're following your heart, trust that you are, and that nothing you can do in this world is going to be for naught. Because we operate under this illusion that we are separate and that we are individual. But in this particular universe, everything is interlocking and interchanging, which brings greater understanding for me for the concept of the law of one, which I will admit I don't know really anything about except for the general premise. And it's amazing when you really start to grasp that information. That other person is a reflection of you. If you're envious of somebody and their abilities, that's actually a reflection of your capabilities inside, if you allow yourself to go there. That person that was really angry and was mean to you today is also a reflection of your inner self and your inner state and where you're at. And it's impossible for us to be separate from everybody else. Everybody is interlocked and connected in such a way that we can't even fathom. It's such an infinitesimal way that we are connected. And I really like the analogy the Pleiades gave in the book I mentioned before about, it's kind of like baking. You have eggs, you have baking soda and baking powder, and you have milk, and you have flour, and you have all the rest of the ingredients that are required for making a cake. And individually, they are amazing. And when they come together, they become something even more amazing. And an outsider might look at you cracking the egg and pouring in the powder, and they might even say, oh my God, look, you've ruined it. You've ruined all of their individuality. The egg is broken, the sugar is dissolved, the flour is non-recognizable. And they might go into a panic because you've completely ruined it. It's like a big gooey mess. What are you doing? And you keep on stirring, because this is universe, right? Universe is the one with the spoon stirring, because you know something greater. And that greater knowledge is the combination of all of us working together synergistically with our individuality, with our different points of view, working together and cohesively in this manner create something greater, because the baker knows they are mixing and just conglomerating all of these ingredients, and then they put it in the oven and they put it under pressure or heat, because they know that this heat or this challenge or this pressure or this spotlight, basically, just metaphorically speaking, this heat transforms the magic into something greater. It makes all of the ingredients work together and come to a different state, a different form, a different way of being, a different way of believing and thinking. And it creates a whole new a whole new state of awareness, pretty much. And I really loved that analogy because it makes sense. From the outside, it looks like everything's being wrecked. And I always go back to the analogy of a butterfly. You start with the egg, the seed of possibility. You go into the larvae. And the larvae goes on its way, and it goes through discipline, it goes through rote, it goes through instincts, it goes through creating a practice, eating, sleeping, doing the same thing, being religious about it, going along its way. Then it goes inwards. It goes into introspection. It goes into meditation. It draws itself inward into a cocoon or a chrysalis. And within that chrysalis, the cells completely gel into this green, gooey mess. And anybody on the outside might think, oh my God, the thing is completely dead. How could it be anything else but a big gooey mess? But what's happening is the difference between chaos and random. From the outside, it looks like it's just a random mess inside there. So there's a difference between chaos and random. There's organized chaos and there's random. So inside that chrysalis, it looks like everything is random. Inside our world, it looks like everything that's happening is random, but it's actually organized chaos because it's necessary for the transformation to occur, the baking of the cake, and that organized chaos, this is the list of ingredients, the organized chaos of the chrysalis of this is what needs to happen, of going within and making this shell on the outside. And that reforming of the cells reform themselves into the wings and into the body and into the antennae of the butterfly until that day of when the cake is done cooking and the butterfly is done cooking, of that level of comprehension and understanding to where now we understand and act and believe in a different way that we are powerful creators, powerful manifestors, and we create our realities. So that butterfly is magnanimous as it erupts from its chrysalis shell, as it breaks its old barriers of belief of who it once thought it was. That butterfly can't go on and operate in the world still thinking that it's a caterpillar. We can't operate in this world thinking that we're still on level 1 when we've advanced at least, two or three or four more levels. And it's taking that new state of awareness and becoming that, being that person, instead of believing that we're still the caterpillar, because we are not the caterpillar anymore. We are transforming into something greater and more beautiful than we could have ever imagined if we just let our hearts and our soul guide us on this process. We can transform and transmute these experiences and feelings, thoughts and beliefs, and become something greater. It takes a letting go of the old, which can be scary because it's something that's familiar, into accepting and embracing who we are wanting to become. And it takes believing that. If the butterfly still believed it was a caterpillar, it would not even attempt to fly. It would continue walking around on all the branches doing its same old thing. But if we believe that we are something greater than what we were, and we start to accept this as a reality, we can really make a beautiful world together. So I just wanted to share that rant with you, and I hope that you were able to get some clarity. And, well, at least a different perspective, maybe bringing something together for you that you hadn't quite thought of in that way. And leave comments below on some revelations you might have had through this process of what we're going through, because it really feels like we're in a pressure cooker right now in this world, and things are on high. Things are on high, things are heating up, and this cake is getting cooked. And you can crumble or you can rise to the occasion. You can make this something much more than it ever was before. We are going into beautiful uncharted territories if we allow our own guidance system of our heart and our soul to be there with us and tune into that and take time to listen and quiet our minds every day. So thank you for listening to this rant and joining me on this process of revelation, because this craft of living is amazing. I am very honored to be alive during this time. These are such exciting times, and I just know that when you are in a state of resistance to what's happening, it makes it all the harder. But when we come into acceptance of who we are and who we have become and who we are becoming, there's no telling what heights and levels we might reach. Let me know your thoughts down below. Have a great day.